Hey everybody, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9 out of Raleigh, Salem. That wasn't a good song, man. I was having a good time there. So while we were at the Capitol, we had a great interview with Representative Ron Hicks out of St. Charles. And he had been on the show before. So we thought, let's go up there and let's have a quick face-to-face with him because he's the one that I believe today was the day that they released this new legislation for adult use. They're trying to push that through the House and into the Senate, and it's a different path than the signature gathering efforts by Missouri Legal 22, which you see in several spots all over the state. So it was a great interview, and I think I'd like to just take you guys right to that. If you got that ready up there, Billy B. Billy B. Billy B's what the politicians up there were calling Billy Bob yesterday. It was great. We were kicking it with the Black Caucus, and he was Billy B. We had a good time. But let's take him over to that interview with Representative Ron Hicks. Hey everybody, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. I'm here with Representative Ron Hicks out of St. Charles, who was on the show a few weeks ago talking about cannabis legalization in Missouri. And I wanted to come up here and up to Jeff City and have a conversation face-to-face with some of the folks behind a lot of these efforts and everything. And I kind of wanted to have a quick conversation with you about a really important thing that we talk about on the show all the time, and that's veterans. So I wanted to say thank you for your service, because you're a veteran to our country. Shit, mate. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, I was never, a signed my name on a dotted line type guy like you and some others have had to do. So, I mean, the credit's going to go to our credit goes to the veterans that actually had to sign that dotted line and had no choice on what they had to do.
Appreciate you. But I guess the conversation I'd like to have is about veterans and cannabis access. So one of the things, just to be real, that bothered me as a veteran and a cannabis advocate is the fact that when we set up our medical laws, we set up to give money to support veterans, when in fact we didn't tackle the one conversation I think we should have had, and that's access for the veterans to the cannabis plant, meaning through the VA system. Somehow we should have progressed a little bit further than this by now. So when it comes to veterans and cannabis, how important is it from your perspective that we have access for our veterans in Missouri and beyond?
Well, that was the whole purpose of this. The whole thing, the whole thing this was sold on to the state of Missouri was our veterans. Our veterans, the veterans' money, how it helps veterans, PTSD. And as far as the PTSD goes, veterans of war, yeah, but we're talking police officers, firefighters, all lines of work, honestly, they're stressful. I don't care if you're an attorney, a judge, or you're just a nurse. Well, actually, nurses probably have it as bad as some of the police officers, but this is more of an everyday thing. I think we can deal with life a little easier. People like to turn to a bottle with alcohol in it and stuff like that, when other people would rather turn to cigarettes or something like that. And we're putting a chemical and something into our body that's not natural, for one. And here we're doing something natural. The veteran side of this is the most important part for me. For one, the veterans use it for PTSD. There's so many drugs out there that we're pumping into our veterans and stuff that aren't helping. You take a pill for, PTSD, and the next thing you know, you're depressed, and now you're taking a pill for depression and things like that. I think this is going to clear a lot of that up, too. Go speak to veterans. You're going to still find a few here and there that think that this is a drug. It's a no, a no-no. But man,
that's changing.
I have now, in the last 10 years, I have far and few do I ever even hear of anyone. Matter of fact, I think people shake my hand more and give me the attaboys and pat me on the back more now than I've ever seen in the last 10 years as far as the marijuana stuff goes.
Do you think that possibly part of the reason that veterans didn't come out in force and go get these medical marijuana cards is because our Second Amendment freedom wasn't protected?
I can guarantee you that's why I didn't go get one. Yep, I said it. That's why I didn't go get one. I'm a little worried about that. We were having a conversation off camera a little while ago, and it's one of the things that bothers me about the situation here is my Second Amendment rights, I think, should be protected privately. And what I mean by that is just because I have a medical marijuana card, how does that affect my Second Amendment rights when I can go to a doctor right now and he can prescribe me opioids or whatever? Doesn't affect my Second Amendment rights. Just because I have a medical marijuana card, I think it should be protected by HIPAA laws. This is my medical records. You don't have any reason behind that. I'm not mentally ill or anything like that to where I might be a threat to society over carrying a firearm or anything like that. But we need to protect the Second Amendment rights, and I think we do that through HIPAA laws, just like we have in the past. I can't get into your records. I can't see what you got going on medically or anything like that to be able to use it against you. It's the same thing here. I think it's ridiculous. Our off-camera conversation, you know, you put someone behind the wheel, you give them a beer, set up the cones, they're going to drive just fine. Give them another beer and make it through the cones. You give me that third beer, I might not make it through the cones. I'm 145 pounds.
Might not even see cones anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's 3 of them, and hey, don't hit the middle one, right?
Yeah, when cannabis just makes orange more orange.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes things a little bit brighter. Actually, for me, it makes me pay attention a little bit more. You know, I'm ADHD and with PTSD and a few other things. My brain likes to wander. Not when I'm on marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, cannabis. There's so many different ways too that you can use it nowadays. From unlike when I was a child, where you know you pinched it out of your brother's bag, or you stole it from mom or dad, or wherever you got it. You know.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, you know, but it wasn't my dad, but I definitely pinched it out of my brothers and my friends. But you know, it's different nowadays too with the potency and stuff you have now, and the way it's used in a brown. You know, back then
a lot of different options.
Oh my gosh!
You know,
it's so weird nowadays.
That's one of the things about legal, clean medicine that's really wonderful is that we don't have to drag it through our lungs anymore. There's everything from bubble gums to tinctures to soda pops to you name it, gummies, vaporizers, right?
That thing called the Volcano.
I love the Volcano.
Oh my gosh,
big fan. I'm a Silver Surfer fan. Check out the Silver Surfer, but the Volcano's cool too. But
Silver Surfer,
Elevate Glass, good
Marvel Comics Silver Surfer, yeah.
it will take you about that high as the Silver Surfer.
All right, check that out then.
But I do find
cleaner ways is what we're talking.
Cleaner medicine,
better for you
tested, cleaner medicine, right? So all these products that are coming, adult use is also on its way. And a study just came out that said 1 in 10 jobs that were new jobs.
I'm filing an adult use bill. I don't know if you know this. Or not.
So I'm very aware. We're going to get to that because I'm a huge fan of your bill, and I'll tell you why. It's a lot of things that we dealt with this last couple of years. That's part of it. So I do believe it's time to open up, expand, begin to embrace these jobs. 1 in 10 new jobs in Missouri were cannabis jobs last year. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
A lot of people probably do not.
That becomes a phenomenal number when adult use comes up.
How about a phenomenal number during a time when people aren't going to work because of COVID? But yet we were putting people to work.
Incredibly valid point, right? So when we start talking about access, right now we have access for 170,000 patients. We go to millions of 21 and up card holders. Those jobs are going to expand. Do you feel like because listen, just to be real about it, when this stuff first started to pass, I was sore at the government. I didn't think that the government legislation would help me as a cannabis user. So the only option that I had...
They're still restricted now. So
right. So now I realize a lot more things now. When I went and put my name on that signature, I didn't fully understand what I was thinking and what I was doing because the language wasn't available for me and the in-between the lines wasn't
You and I
available.
are in the same boat there. I mean, I put my signature on that. I mean, there were 3 initiative petitions that year. I mean, I put my signature on 1.
Gotcha. No, I agree. So
the one that passed, actually.
Going forward, when I look at these ballot initiatives that are going forward, the signatures are being gathered now, and I look at what you've got, what your bill looks like, because I've dove into it. I was blessed that Ethan Thampy...
all 100 and some pages?
Man, I dove in deep. I asked my team. I sat there for a good hour, and I kept blurting stuff out. Man, this is here. But
that's my largest piece of legislation I've ever had to work on as far as how many pages that is. But there's also good reason for that. It's probably the most...
comprehensive.
I was going to say, man, this is putting the thread through the needle. I mean, it's got to be done. I mean, obviously, it's got to be done. I mean, look at the national scale anymore. It's got to be done, but it's got to be done the right way. It's got to be done the right way. I look at all the other states that have done this, and it's like they got some good, they got some bad. Well, let's take the good and leave all the bad in those states, and let's try to make Missouri's good.
And that's kind of how it was sold to us in the beginning is, we went out, we cherry-picked all the good stuff, and we left behind the bad. But in reality, we didn't go forward with any of the things that we needed. My Second Amendment rights weren't protected. There's no lodging establishments for cannabis. There's no place safe for me to go besides my house.
Exactly.
There's other things in there, the limits that they put forward, I'm not comfortable with. Anything that's criminalizing it to a standard that makes me or people around me a criminal, I'm not for it. But I am for your bill. Because what your bill does is it takes all the questions and concerns that I had and it alleviated them. For the first time as an advocate and as an activist, I've found comfort in language in a place like this, and I want to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, a lot of that also pertains to having the right people behind you on what you're doing. I mean, as a connoisseur myself, you know, and someone that chases it and looks to legalize it, not just for the veteran side of it, but, I mean, let's face it, economy, life.
All of it.
For example, like I said, they legalize alcohol, and that tears families apart, kills people. Well, I don't see that happening with the marijuana unless it's illegal. The illegal side of it, yeah, it's going to do that. I mean, it puts tensions on things. We legalize this. I've been working on this for a long time, and when I say you got to have the right people behind you, it's finally come to this point. I'm in my last year of the legislature. A good friend of mine, Ethan Thampy, has come to me this year. And one of the things that he knows I've been trying to do is figure out a way that we can combine everything. Okay? Because I might be just one guy in this building of 163. So I'm filing a piece of legislation on this and on that and on this and on that. And then there's another doing it here, there, and the other thing. Well, gentleman, a lobbyist by the name of Ethan Thampy. I've known him for years. He's been working with me on and off throughout this building on all kinds of cannabis legislation, and even on stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with cannabis. I mean, he's very intelligent. No plug for him. But this year he came to me with the idea. This was his idea, and that's why I'm bringing it out and saying it, because it wasn't just my idea. I mean, I can take the credit for being the legislature to handle it and try to get it, through the legislative body, but it wasn't my sole idea. This was a collaboration of a bunch of different people, and he even brought us together. He loved something like my expungement bills that I had been trying. For example, right now in the state, you got a medical marijuana card. You check yourself into a Jeff City hotel to stay the night here, come do interviews, things like that. Well, if you want to medicate yourself in the evening time, is the hotel going to get in trouble? A patron walks down the hallway. You just opened up the door to grab, room service or whatever, and they smell it. And next thing you know, you got the police knocking on your door. They're knocking on the door of the owner of this restaurant or building, establishment, hotel, as we're talking, things like that. Where are their protections? And so what we're going to do here, and that's why I say he had a great idea, is an omnibus bill, basically. I mean, we hate the word, we hate omnibus bills, but we have something that's so passionate and cared for in this state by both sides of the aisle. I mean, we're still going to have a handful, no, this is a drug, this is a gateway drug. Well, you and I both know this is not a gateway drug. Your mom and dad's medicine cabinet is a gateway drug.
My dad's medicine cabinet had a lot of herb. Just putting that out there. But yeah, absolutely.
Mine did. My dad was a police officer and stuff. So, but like he told me, I'd rather see you come home stoned than drunk.
Yeah.
Because at least I knew you came home.
Well, for the first time, I think Missouri is looking at possibly correcting some harm that's been done to cannabis users, and that's through expungement, through things like that.
We need to do that.
But to watch an available bill like this one, because I've read the language, I dove into it, to see this come down the pipeline has a possibility, if anything, to be some kind of infrastructure for something that we can have that's viable and valuable to the patient. That's what we're looking for.
That is put together by the body too, and what I mean is by the legislature, by the people of Missouri, because they are who voted us into this office. This isn't going to an initiative ballot to where it can be skewed one way or the other just by whatever is being told, or the simple, some people just walking out of a Walmart or a grocery store or something like that, just, the thing in their face, yeah, sure, whatever, and walking off. They're signing things they don't even know what they're signing. But we do it the right way the first time. The initiative petition stuff, you get what you get. You didn't have any say in it. You voted for it. And we do it all the time here in this body, okay? Sometimes we have to vote for the good, even though we get some of the bad.
Fully understood. So when we look at legalization going forward, one of the things I'm hearing from you is that it looks like the folks in the past have been more of a body of people designed to make money in an industry, and what you're looking for is better access, expungement, a better treatment of the Missouri people.
Let's think of it kind of in a healthcare situation, okay? Let's think of it for the people, not as a large business, okay? And that's what happens with initiative petitions. Especially in this industry, you got a lot of money involved in this industry. You're going to have people coming from all over the world come into Missouri and want to be a part of it. So you're going to get all this outside money, all these outside groups, and it pushes the Missourians out. This is Missouri. I'd like to see it stay Missouri businesses, Missouri owners, Missouri employees. I know that's, the free market, that's not going to happen that way. We're still going to have them come in, but if we could limit it somehow, I'd like to see that too. We want to legalize it for the people of Missouri, not for some interest group or some organization or the guy with the most money.
Right, and I also truly believe that the more we open up access to this and the more our laws change, the more that Missouri can become a a bigger part of this industry than we even fully grasped in the beginning. I believe in the exports and imports business as well. We should be able to sell good, fine Missouri hemp and cannabis products to other states. And right now, it looks like what's coming down the pipeline from the other folks, that they want to eliminate that. They want to keep up borders. They want to keep up where we don't have state-to-state commerce. All that's a problem for me when we're living in a state that's farmland, that we've got folks that need jobs. So we have all these things that the cannabis conversation...
Yeah, farmlands that stretch across state lines.
It's very valid.
How does that work?
That's
When
a
you're
very
growing,
valid point, right?
smoking, transporting, cutting, drying, I mean, your facilities. I mean, yeah, I understand. And that's the thing. We're opening up Pandora's box, as they like to say. This is a learning experience for the state of Missouri, too, at the same time. We don't know what we're getting into. Look what happened with this initiative petition on the medical side of it. But now look at all the studies. Look at everything we're finding out about this product. It's been kept away from us for so long. Scientists, doctors, and everyone for so long. And now look at the things that are coming out. I mean, it is totally changing different from when I was a young man. You know,
I believe that there's a bit
the 70s and 80s are a lot different from now.
Well, that's a fact. I believe there's a little bit of over-regulation in some of these industries like hemp and cannabis, and the fact that the states have a little bit more control over these products than I think I'm comfortable with. Because when we look at hemp, we're not a major producer of hemp in the United States. We should be the major producer of hemp in the world. So I look at these.
Missouri at one point was one of the largest producers of hemp.
We were also the very last state to take away our cannabis during Prohibition. So I mean, I get all that. I believe that now is the time for us to let Missouri show what it can be, and we do that.
It's called the Show Me State for a reason, right?
Betcha,
let's start showing other states,
right?
And that's why I want to do it right. Let's take the bad from other states. Let's try to make that go away. Bring the good into our state that we're seeing other places, and have a good bill, a good solid bill. And you're going to see quite a few different things in the legislation. I mean, I'm waiting for it right now. I can't wait to be able to share it with the public.
I'm excited too. I think you're in draft mode right now, right?
Well, it's being redrafted. We already had it drafted once, and
gotcha.
then there's a few things to fix here and there. Maybe some language changes, and dot your I and cross the T here and there. Not any real major changes. I think you got to see some of it when Ethan Thampy had it. He went through it with me. Of course, I'm relying on him to give me some of the ins and outs.
You got the right guy.
Oh, I know I do. Yeah. I know I do. He's proved that to me more than once. So, and we got the right people in this body, I think, writing it, our research department. I really give kudos to the gentleman down there for helping us out on this, especially because we threw him into the fire his first year working for us in research. So I got to give kudos to our research department. I mean, like I said again, I'm just a representative. It's easy for me to grab a piece of legislation, sign my name to it, and go turn it in if I believe in it. But where does it come from? How's it built? Kind of like this industry. We're just starting out on something we haven't even touched on. I mean, we got numbers. I can show you numbers on the marijuana industry. I don't even think they're close. Because I think this thing could blow up bigger than we've ever even seen or imagined.
Arizona had $1 billion in sales over the last year.
$1 billion. Well, I think we just ended up with 200 million.
Correct, yeah. And our adult use market, though, is going to be a phenomenal number. So,
and I like that you call it adult use. I really do, because it is adult use. We're 21 and up is what I'm going for on this. I take my children to a rec center to go swimming or play.
Right.
I don't need it to be recreational marijuana.
I need it to be cannabis.
Exactly.
We'll get there. We're all getting there.
I'd like to just see it just not even talked about, honestly. I'd like it to be as common as someone opening up a fridge and drinking a beer, To me, it should be as common as... Which I'd rather actually see someone walking down the street smoking a joint than smoking a cigarette. I mean,
of course,
better for them.
There's 200 and some carcinogens in one cigarette, and cannabis is a non-toxic, safe alternative to all of those things.
I know this is cliche-ish to say, but in this time in our world right now, I think everyone could use a little bit of just relaxation and sit down and talk time. Whether it's what I like to call that 70s circle or
good.
not. And that's what I think something like this can do. I mean, I have met people. As soon as I finally decided, I'm not hiding behind this anymore. I'm at a point where I got authority. I have people that look up to me. And believe me, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of crap for some of this as well. But that's okay, because what I have noticed is the trend has changed. When I first started on the cannabis issues, man, it was down here, the cannabis issues. It's probably reversed now. I mean, there are more people in support and coming to me, thanking me, and we need to do this. And I'm talking people in government, police officers, law enforcement agencies across our state. Well, they're tired of wasting the resource money on marijuana, something that nationally looks like it's trending to go legal anyway. And we're just fighting for something I hope is, small scale right now. I do really hope that we just get someone finally steps up in the president's administration. I don't care who it is at the time, just steps up. So, this is ridiculous. It's kind of like when they took alcohol away in Prohibition days. Well, it came back.
Yeah, I don't dive too much into the political nature of things, but what I can tell you, I understand. What I can tell you is that someone that voted a certain way and was promised certain things and haven't gotten those at this point, as an activist, am demanding, where is that access that you told me we would have? Where's the legalization? Because you sold that to me, so I get it.
And it's hard. I mean, there's so many, people like to point the finger in every direction. Like I said, I know I'll get my finger pointed at me for this. I'll bring up another name, Lyndall Fraker. I'm sure you guys all know that name. Sure. I served with Lyndall here in the house. A wonderful man, perfect for the job that he's in right now. But people forget that he still has handcuffs on. He can only do so much, He can't just do what he would like to do and what the people would like us to do, because it was an initiative petition. So he has to follow what the people voted in. It would be different if we had this through the legislature, like what I'm trying to do now. Because it doesn't go back to the people, or it's not written into the Constitution. It can be changed. We go back every year into session and we can work on it. We can change it. We can evolve it if we need to. What I'm going to file is not going to be perfect. In my mind, it might be. But we can't ever see what's perfect until we implement it.
Sure.
Our medical marijuana. It sounded good as an initiative petition, right? I thought so. Hey, I'm going to vote for it.
It was wonderful, right?
Again, and then you get people like Lyndall Fraker, whose hands get tied. All of a sudden there's lawsuits and things like that. You want to talk about veteran money? Get me started on that.
So that's one thing that I also have to say that I've been very frustrated with the program is that
I have to say that's the single most thing I'm frustrated with.
And that's also because that's how they sold it to you, correct? So that's also why I'm frustrated with the fact that conversation even goes towards the money side of it, not direct access to veterans through cards, through medicine. Here's a true story.
It shouldn't be allowed to be used for attorneys and anything else.
I'm allowed 4 ounces of cannabis according to the state's plan. If I'm a veteran, okay, in my world, I'm a 40% disabled veteran. In my world, if I need medicine for the VA, which I don't accept it because most of it's toxic, and my doctor understands that. In my world, if I'm given any medicine to the VA, I'm giving that medicine for free. I have access to it. And that's the one thing I thought that we were going to see more of, is more of this veterans conversation with access. Instead, a couple years down the road, we're still asking, where's the money?
You see what works? You have free access to medication from our government. And you don't want it because it doesn't work.
Because it's toxic.
But what does work?
Cannabis.
You're putting something in your body that's not toxic.
Well, I want it to be my right. Yeah, I want it to be my right, and you're helping us with that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to work on it as much as I can. I mean, that's not it. There's still a lot of work to be done in this area. It's unfortunate that I am in my last year of office, but
I think so too.
I've got a lot of friends that are still in office, and I'll continue to stay involved in politics and stuff through the years, one way or another. I mean, especially with this. I mean, the cannabis industry, it's got to continue to grow, especially in our state. Yeah. I mean, state's missing out. I mean, we keep talking about money coming from the government. We got $200 billion that comes in for COVID relief and this, that, the other thing, roads and bridges, gas taxes. I'm guilty. I voted for the gas tax, although I would change that now if I knew we were getting $200 million from the federal government to use however the heck we want, infrastructure as they call it, which means everything, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to see it taxed out either. That's one of the things, but I do see tax purposes for it. I don't want to tax it out of the hands of the people and make the black market more valuable on the street. Oklahoma, perfect example right now. That's
and I agree. Like, I'm trying to. I love that we're opening up and everything, but of course we don't want things to look like it doesn't have. We don't want a dispensary on every corner. No. We don't need a dispensary on every corner.
Access
does not mean cannabis everywhere. Exactly. Access means good, reliable, clean tested access for the patients, and that's what we're looking for.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Which is why
life is normal.
Yeah.
We didn't really change anything. We just added a whole new industry in the state of Missouri. That's all we did. And then in the same time of adding a whole new industry, you're helping out the people of Missouri at the same time.
Awesome stuff. All right, you guys are listening to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. We appreciate you, Representative Ron Hicks.
You're welcome.
Awesome stuff, my friend.
Hey, the pleasure's all mine. All right. Mine. Like I said, it's the people behind you. It's the people behind you, man.
That's a good way to think about it.
It's not me. It's us.
Perfect.
All right. Welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID, man. What a great, riveting interview with Representative Ron Hicks out of St. Charles. He is the guy behind the new bill that's the legislation that's being pushed over there. of course, it sounds like our friend Ethan Thampy really helped put the building blocks together for this, and I'm really grateful to have friends out there that are helping to understand and educate and provide more access and better laws for cannabis. Steve, what do we got going on, man? We're gonna have Izzy here in just a little bit. You got a little bit of tunage for us?
I do. We can take a quick break, and what do we have? Some Savoy Brown we're coming back to. How's that sound?
Perfect.